Good evening, dear children. Good evening to all of you.
Good evening,
Good
ma'am.
evening, ma'am.
Yes. So which chapter are we discussing right now?
The
The fun they had. The
The
fun.
Fun They Had. Yes, The Fun They Had, written by Isaac Asimov. Did you go through the details about Isaac Asimov?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes. What do you remember about Asimov? We are quickly recapitulate. Yes, I have the picture of Asimov here. Can you see the image of the writer?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes.
Ma'am.
This is Isaac Asimov. Who was Asimov? Asimov is an American writer and professor at Boston University. Yes. And what else you remember about him?
He's a science fiction writer.
Yes. He mainly writes science fiction and hard fiction. All right. Then what is the chapter about? The chapter is mainly about the fun the students had when they attended real classroom. And as we discussed in the previous class, we could see a lot of innovation in science and technology, and one is the invention of a robot. Robots have made our life easy. At the same time, robot has become a threat to the humanity as well. And here you can see a familiar face. Are you able to identify who is this?
Sophia.
Yes, this is Sophia. What is the peculiarity of Sophia? What is the
She's a
peculiarity of
human
Sophia?
robot.
Yes, she is a human robot. Human robot in the sense?
She looks like a human.
Yes, looks like a human. Yes, so you can clearly differentiate this picture from this. Is it not? This clearly shows that it is a machine. It is a pure machine. Yes, but what about this? This picture has got human features. So what do you mean by robot? Human robot? Come on, children.
Looks like a human, but
Yes, it looks like a human being. That's all.
Ma'am, it almost
but
has all
it's
the
made
features, all
of
the
metal.
elements.
Yes. It has human features too. It can cry, it can smile, it can speak. Is it not? Yes. And another peculiarity of Sophia is this is the
She was
only
given
human
citizenship.
robot. Yes, somebody's saying. I think it's Isha.
Ma'am, she
Oh.
was given citizenship.
Yes, she was given citizenship. Sophia is the only human robot who has given citizenship. Do you know which country? Which country gave the citizenship? Which country gave this? Yes, exactly. Very good. Very good, Isha. Saudi Arabia. The country Saudi Arabia gave citizenship to Sophia, the human robot. And children, this is going to be how the classroom look like in future. Okay, there will be a robot. There will be a robotic teacher and the students will be learning from the robotic teacher. So according to Isaac Asimov, he says that after 100 or 200 years, the entire scenario or entire education system would change and the children will be learning from the robot. Okay, human teachers will be replaced by robotic teachers. And they will have very less interaction too. Yes. And now we will quickly go through the points that we discussed in the last class in connection with the chapter, that is about the difference between robotic teacher and human teacher. Okay, you can go through the points. That is, robotic teacher delivers the content of the lesson. It asks questions and answers to their doubt. But human teacher, on the other hand, provides everything in a human dimension. Then artificial. Children, are you able to see the screen?
No, ma'am.
No, ma'am.
No,
Just a minute. 1 second, let me share it. Are you able to see the screen now?
yes, ma'am.
All right. Okay. So artificial intelligence offers unlimited possibilities for students by identifying their strength and interest. But on the other hand, human teachers can provide emotional support along with academic support. Okay. Then another difference is the robotic teacher can only deliver the duties assigned according to the program installed in it. But on the other hand, human teachers can always cater to the needs of the child. Okay. So then we also find that the teaching learning process by robot becomes monotonous. But on the other hand, human teachers can also always make it as a great enjoyment for the students, depending upon different types of methodologies. And here we have another contrasted study of virtual classroom and real classroom. We are really experiencing, though right now we are having a partial virtual classroom, in one way or the other, we are experiencing the virtual classroom. We could really feel the difference of a virtual classroom and the real classroom. In the real classroom, face-to-face interaction with students and teachers is possible. But in the virtual classroom, it's only possible through emails, chats, and webinars. In the real classroom, teachers keep on motivating and inspiring. Okay, that means the teacher asks a particular student to express his or her point of view. You always can express, or you can always voice your thoughts. But what about virtual classroom? In a virtual classroom, a student should be self-motivated. Okay, there is less interaction and a student has to motivate him or her. Then peer learning is possible in real classroom. Peer learning means learning with one's friend. Do you enjoy learning with your friend? Children, what do you think? Do you enjoy learning with your friends?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes. Do you like combined study?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes. Okay. So in real classroom, peer learning is always possible, but in virtual classroom, peer learning is not possible. Sometimes you will be sitting in United States, or you will be sitting in United Arab Emirates, or any other part of the world, and you will be coming together and you could see each other only on the screen. So that's what you mean by peer learning not possible. Then real classroom, fixed classrooms and proper ambience or environment. Okay, in the real classroom, you have a particular room or space, what we call as classroom, and it is permanent. But on the other hand, in the virtual classroom, there is no limit of classroom time, schedule, or place. We can keep on changing the venue of a virtual classroom. Today, if I'm taking a class for you in this particular room, tomorrow I can take it in another room or in some other place. Are you able to follow me?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes. And the last point that we discussed in connection with virtual classroom and real classroom is students attend classes regularly and follow the same curriculum. In real classroom, students attend classes regularly. Okay. It is done on regular basis and a particular curriculum is there and everybody will be following the same curriculum. But on the other hand, in the virtual classroom, no regular classes, but also different curriculum. All right. Yes, I can hear some sound coming through. All right. So that's what we discussed in the previous class. So who are the main characters in our story? Tell me. The main characters are Margie and Tommy. Margie and Tommy. What was special about Margie and Tommy?
They are neighbors.
They do not confuse.
Yes, they are neighbors and
Friends.
friends. Okay. One day Margie wrote something strange in her diary. What was that?
She found a real.
We found
Yes.
a
Margie noted in her diary that Tommy found a real book. What was the peculiarity of the real book?
It was old.
It was old.
And it belonged to
Yellow
Tommy's
color.
grandfather's grandfather.
Yes, it belonged to Tommy's grandfather's grandfather. And what was the speciality of that book? The book was old. It was yellowish in color and
Crinkly.
cringly. Cringly means having folds on the book. And why did the book seem to be so funny for the children?
Because they saw book in the televisions. There
Yes.
were so many books.
They are used to read the books on the screen. And for them, the letters or words kept on moving. But here in the real book, does the words move?
No, they have to
No,
turn
the words did not move, but instead it stood still. Okay, so we will continue page number 6. So the children found the book so funny as the words on it did not move. And when they turned the page back, there were the same words on it, that they read it for the first time. Gee, said Tommy, what a waste. When you're through with the book, you just throw it away. I guess our television screen must have had 1,000,000 books on it, and it's good for plenty more. I wouldn't throw it away. So how many of you have the habit of throwing away the books? Huh? Once you finish learning or once you finish reading, do you just throw it away?
Ma'am.
Yes. Does anyone have the
Ma'am,
habit
Alvin.
of? Oh my goodness. Alvin is so honest. Alvin, throwing in the sense, what do you mean by throwing it away? You discard the book, or do you give it to somebody else so that they can use it, or you destroy the book? What do you
Ma'am,
mean
giving
by
somebody else.
okay, giving it to somebody else? So handing it over to somebody else. So that is useful. But on the other hand, do you destroy or you just discard it?
Ma'am, and I will get mad. And I will crush the book.
My goodness, you should not do that. Okay. So I don't think most of you, treat the books in an ill manner. I do believe that you children all respect the book. Okay. I never wanted to, I never have done, like throwing away the books in my life. So I think you also will not do that. According to Tommy says that when you have finished reading a book, you just throw it away. Throw it away in the sense it is useless. The book becomes useless when you finish reading it. Do you have such kind of opinion?
No.
Lakshmi
No.
says no. So only Lakshmi is there in my class. What about others?
No.
Come on, children, please say it in a sentence. I'm not teaching KG kids. I don't want to get the answer yes or no. Listen to my question and respond accordingly. Would you like to throw away the book, or will you prefer to keep it as a treasure for a lifelong?
Prefer to keep it as yes, ma'am.
Yes, you prefer to keep it as a treasure because books are always useful for us or for the coming generation. Am I right? Once you have finished learning with the book, you can either hand it over to your juniors instead of throwing it out, or you can build or create a library of your own and you can treasure the book, because books are our good friends. Okay, but in the coming generation, in the future, children will not know the value of books because they will be quite used to what they read on the screen. So that's what Tommy says. Oh, what a waste. When you're through with the book, you just throw it away. I guess a television screen must have had 1,000,000 books on it, and it's good for plenty more. I wouldn't throw it away. So television screen will have many books. So come on, children, let's have a discussion about the difference between telebooks and real books. What is a telebook and what is a real book? Or what are the difference between these two? Come on, come up with points. Of course, you know. So there is no point in keeping quiet. Yes, Isha.
Books on a screen may increase eye strain.
Yes, if you continuously read books on the screen, it will cause eye problems. Okay, good point. Lynette?
Ma'am, in television we screen like it can carry how many books
Yes.
but we can't carry hundreds of books or thousands of books in our hands. I mean, with us for
Yes.
a long time. Like
You can store as many books as possible on the screen or on the computer. Is it not? E-books. You can store as many e-books as possible, but on the other hand, it's very difficult for you to carry the real books with you. Okay, then what else? Hira Menon.
In telebooks, we can read only a particular at one time. And if we are reading in like real book, we can read how much we can. Anytime we won't get any problem or bored.
Okay. You mean if there is any internet connectivity problem, you will not be able to read the particular book on the screen. But on
Yes,
the
ma'am.
other hand, if it's a real book, you can carry it with you as long as you need, and you can read according to your time and space. Okay, very good. Good point. Then Tom, Joss, Tom, Nikhila, Nivedya, Ken, Anashwara, Irene, switch on your videos. Tom, is there any other points to be discussed?
And the books we should turn the pages,
Mm.
and there are certain number of pages.
Mm.
But on the screen we could read everything in one page.
Really? On one page, you will be able to read.
No, ma'am, we shouldn't turn.
You have to scroll either up or down, right?
But we shouldn't turn the pages on.
Oh, okay, okay. You need not turn the pages. So turning pages, is it a tiresome job?
No, ma'am. I'm
All
just
right.
a difference.
Okay, you're just noting down the difference. All right, thank you. Thank you so much. So let's quickly have a look at the difference between tele books and real books. Okay. Yeah. Telebooks can be read on the screen or computer. But on the other hand, printed books are made of pages and words are printed on them. Okay. Then telebooks are also called virtual books. Printed books are called as real books. Then in telebook, the words keep on moving. You either have to scroll upward or downward in order to read. But on printed books, the words remain still. Okay, even if you turn the pages to and fro, the words remain the same. Then in telebooks, million books can be installed. There is no limit. You can install as many books as you can, but there is a limitation for preserving or serving real books. That means a lot of space will be consumed. For example, if you have to keep a collection of books, either you have to set up a small library or a particular room for it. So a lot of space will be consumed. Then continuous reading of telebooks makes your eyes tiresome because you are looking at the screen and it's not good for your health. But on the other hand, if you're reading a real book, there is no side effects at all. Then telebooks, they're easily accessible. At any time, it will be available. Okay, everything is available at the tip of your hand. If you just type the title of that particular book, then that book will be easily accessible to you. But on the other hand, if you have to get a printed book, either you have to go to a bookshop to search for it and get it, or to the school library. Okay, so those are the differences between a telebook and a real book. So we find that Margie, the little girl, is also agreeing the same with Tommy. She said, same with mine. I do also think that it's just a waste. She was 11 and hadn't seen as many telebooks as Tommy had. How old is Tommy? Tommy is just 13 years old. Okay. Tommy is 13 years old and Margie is 11 years old, but she has not seen as many telebooks as Tommy had seen. She said, where did you find it? In my house. He pointed without looking because he was busy reading in the attic. So for both these kids, this is something very, very strange for them because they are finding a real book for the first time in their life. I do not know whether you will be able to imagine the kind of mindset that children have. We are quite used to what is a book and how it is printed and what are the things that you find on the book. We find letters, sentence, pictures, everything we find on the book. But for the children in the future, they will never know how a real book looked like. So Tommy was busy reading the book and he pointed with his finger. He found the book from the attic. Mark it, attic. Where did he find the book? He found the book in the attic. Attic means a space just below the roof where you keep unused things. Okay. Normally, it is regarded as a storeroom and you keep unused things in the attic. In my house, he pointed without looking because he was busy reading in the attic. What's it about? School. What's the book about?
School.
What's the book about? It's about school. Margie was scornful. School? What's there to write about school? I hate school. Is there anyone who agree with Margie's statement? Margie said it very plainly. What's there to write about school? I hate school. Do you all love your school? No,
Yes.
no answer. Do you hate your school?
No.
No. Okay, I believe that there is one reason or the other for you to love your school. Maybe it's your friends. What else other than that? Anyway, primary importance is given to friends. So, of course, anyway, there is a reason why you love friends. But here, look at this dialogue said by Margie. I hate school. What's there to write about school? I hate school. Now, let's see what is the reason why Margie makes a plain statement about school. Margie was scornful. School. What's there to write about school? I hate school. What do you mean by scornful? Scornful?
Showing you think something is worthless.
Showing you think something is worthless. So scornful means disliking something to a great extent. Disliking something to a great extent. That means you do not have any good opinion about something. That's what you mean by scornful. Children, am I going fast for you?
No, ma'am.
No.
Is it okay? Are you able to follow me?
Yes, ma'am.
Thank you for your response. So Margie says that she hates her school. Next paragraph is very, very important. Listen. Margie always hated school, but now she hated it more than ever. So from the beginning onwards, Margie hated school. But for us children, schooling is really a fun. It's a time full of memories. Okay, just to recollect the time when you joined your kindergarten classes, KG classes. The first time when you joined, of course, you might have cried a lot missing your mom or dad, but quite after a few days, you will make friends with each other and you love going out to the playground and playing together and coloring pictures and drawing and writing and all those stuffs remain as fun time in your mind. I'm sure about it. But for Margie, from her small classes or from her very young age onwards, she started to hate her school. Let's see what's the reason. The mechanical teacher had been giving her test after test in geography, and she had been doing worse and worse until her mother had shaking her head sorrowfully and sent for the county inspector. My goodness. So one reason, make a note, she did not have a human teacher, but a mechanical teacher. The reason why Margie hated her school was instead of a human teacher, she had a mechanical teacher. What do you mean by mechanical teacher?
Robotic teacher.
Yes, very good. A robotic teacher. And another reason is that the teacher was giving test after test. Oh my goodness. Giving a test is always something fearsome activity, right? Yeah. If you're asked a question and if you're asked to stand up in front of the class, and if you do not know the answer, oh my goodness, heart start to beat fast, fast, fast. Am I right? Am I right or not? At least respond that, children.
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, even I have also faced the same thing. My goodness, when I was a student, sometimes we skip certain homework and all. The next day when you go to the class, my goodness, the teacher will particularly point me out. And if I don't know the answer, I'll stand there and I'll start sweating. And finally, what happens? What happens? You can imagine. Sometimes I have even got beatings on my hand. Anyway, you're all very, very, lucky ones. You don't have any punishments, right? All right. So anyway, schooling was fun after all. So mechanical teacher was giving her test after test, giving continuous test. The moment one portion is over, another test is given. Another new portion, another test. So test after test. And what happened? The little girl became so tired of writing test, and her performance went very low. Ken is very serious. Ken? Oh, I think Ken really wanted to give a, hit onto the mechanical teacher. Is that what you're thinking, Ken? Mechanical teacher, without understanding the capacity of the child, the mechanical teacher was giving test after test and the child performed very badly. For example, I'm teaching you literature. This is our first chapter. Okay. If I rush through the first chapter and if I'm moving to another chapter very quickly, and if I'm giving you the test paper for this first chapter, will you be able to perform well?
No.
I have to give you enough time and space for you to prepare for the chapter, is it not? You have to get enough time to read the chapter, to understand, to learn the question answers. Okay, only then I can give you a test. Then only I'll get the output from you. Yes or no? Yes. But instead of doing that, if I go on taking chapter one after the other, and if I'm giving a test paper, how will your results look like? Will it be a satisfactory one?
Yes.
Huh? Not at all. Okay, so this is what exactly happening here. Yeah, she had been doing worse and worse until her mother had shaken her head sorrowfully and sent for the county inspector. Now tell me, children, who is county inspector? County inspector.
Principal.
At least you can make a guess, right?
Ma'am, principal.
Okay, not principal.
I'm a counselor.
Okay, counselor, can you think of something else? Thank you. Thank you so much for your response. Very good, children. Whatever you feel, you just say it in my class. You have the full freedom.
Mom's tuition.
Tuition teacher. Wow, I liked it. I liked it, Lakshmi. Very good. Tuition teacher. Okay, I got 3 responses. Very good. Come on.
Motivating teacher.
Motivating teacher. All right, motivating teacher. Different versions. Sridev, Amaljit. Yes, Amal, Abhiram.
The operator of robot.
Operator of robot. Yes. So that makes a sense. Very good, Abhiram. So county inspector means the mechanic, the one who repairs the robotic teacher, or the one who repairs the mechanic teacher. Okay. So her mother understood that the little girl Margie, was not performing well in her subject, geography. So she thought something is wrong with her, and she was sent for the county inspector. County inspector is the one who make an assessment about the child's learning. At the same time, he is a mechanic of the robotic teacher. Did you get me?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes.
Yes, ma'am.
Would you mind if I continue with one more paragraph? Only if you permit.
Okay, ma'am.
Okay.
Tired? Children, are you tired?
No.
No.
No? Come on, children. I'm not a robotic teacher. I will not teach you more and more every day. I will not force you to listen to my class. You have the full freedom. If you permit, then I will definitely go on with one more paragraph. If you're tired, then we'll wind up. What would you like me to do?
Ma'am, one more paragraph.
Okay, Nandana agreed. What about others? Majority win. Majority wins. Okay, understood. Your silence made it. Okay. Thank you, Nandana, for your response. But majority of you are tired. Okay, all right, children. So since I'm not a mechanical teacher, I'm a human teacher, I do understand your feelings. Okay, so for the time being, we are winding up, but I want you to quickly read through the portion. Quickly. Just to see whether you have any doubts. Yes, Isha.
Ma'am,
Mm.
it had the same words on it that it had when they read it the first time.
Yes. You want a clarification for that sentence?
Yes.
Yes. For example, take your book page number 6. Take your book page number 6, all of you. And look at the paragraph 2. Gee, said Tommy, what a waste. When you are through with the book, you just throw it away, I guess. Okay. So this particular sentence is there on page number 6. Now, I want you to take page number 33. All of you take page number 33. I'm making it clear with an example. Page number 33. Look at paragraph 4. Okay. Okay, section 4. It's not a paragraph 4, actually, section 4. So on page number 33, in section 4, you can find another sentence. On Sunday afternoons, grandmother sent her down to the drawing room to have a nice talk with father and mother. Okay. All right, come on. Now turn back the pages again. Move to page number 6. And there on the second section again, you can see, G said to me, what a waste. When you're through with the book, you just throw it away, I guess. Now, do you understand? What does that sentence mean? It had the same words on it that it had when they read it for the first time. So initially, if you're reading one particular page, a particular sentence, and even if you move ahead with the remaining pages, when you go back to it, that same sentence will be there on the same page. Is it clear, Isha? Yes. All right, good. Any other doubts? Any other doubts, children? Don't hesitate to ask. This is your classroom, and I'm not a robotic teacher. Every now and then I'll say that, okay? I'm not a robotic teacher. Come on, children. Do you have any other doubts? Surya, what happened so serious today? See, once in a while, you all can smile, okay? You need not have a very stiff expression. At least think about the future generation. Those kids will have a robotic teacher and they will not be able to see any kind of emotions on the face of the teacher. So you are so fortunate to smile, to express all your emotions. Yes, any more doubts? No. Okay. So I want you to read from the beginning up to where we have done today. Okay. And I'll be sending a few questions based on the portion. Please read the text and find out the answers and write it in a notebook. Okay. Write it in a notebook. Is that clear?
Yes,
Ma'am.
All right.
Ma'am, is it for notes or?
See, whatever we discuss and whatever I ask you to write, everything counts. Okay. Activity, the questions based on each portion, everything is necessary for exam. But while coming to the notes, I will be giving you questions. Okay. I will be giving you the questions that is printed at the back of the chapter. Only those questions you have to write it as notes, which means in the ruled sheets given from the school. Based on each day's portion, I'll be giving you separate questions. It will be either objective type questions or short answer question that you have to read the text and find out the answer by yourself. And you have to be ready with it in your notebook for the next class. I hope it is clear to you.
yes, ma'am.
Yes. Okay. So for the time being, we are winding up. I'll see you in the next session. Thank you. Thank you all.
Thank you, ma'am.
Bye.